Hey everybody, here's the situation we're in. A couple weeks ago, Dr. Dillo here in our group sent out a little video of a plastic surgeon who peeled off the eggshell from a raw egg. And there's been a challenge going around, I guess, out there. And so I wanted to see if I could do it. So I've gotten pretty far. I have broken many eggs in the process, more than I can say. I'm embarrassed. But this is the best I've done so far. So here we go. I'm going to try to get the rest of this shell off of here. Here we go. Okay, quick little update. Made some good progress here. Just kind of rinse things off. Periodically, I would just rinse this under a little bit of water, gently. But so far, it's very fragile, but it's held together, and I got this last little bit to get off. It's probably jinxing it, but I don't know what the tricks to this are. I really don't. I think you have to be in a comfortable position to work. This is typically how we would be for like a hand surgery, kind of sitting down here. I found this instrument here. This is called an elevator. This particular one is called a Freer elevator. And it has a sort of a sharper edge and then a more blunt edge. I think it'd probably be similar to like a cuticle pusher for your nails if you have that at home. But I don't know, you'd be going around just fine, and then all of a sudden you'd have a crack. And if you have a tiny pinpoint one, I think sometimes it can actually seal if you just let it sit. But I think one of the challenges was to keep the this membrane kind of smooth. So you got to put a little bit of tension on it. And you have this tendency to sometimes you get this big piece of shell that wants to lift up, and you're like, it feels great. You're like, awesome, big progress. But the problem is that as it lifts up, the back edge of it, where it's still connected to the membrane, is sharp. And so the bigger piece you have lifting up, the more it would cut into the membrane, and then there'd be a tear right there. I tried a couple different eggs starting at the top or the bottom or the waist of the egg. I have no idea. Getting that first little opening is also kind of challenging. But I found like making little small micro cracks in it. I just sort of barely kind of tap the shell, and you'd have like, it would splinter a little bit as opposed to getting those big sheets to come off. So anyways, I got a little ways to go. We'll see how it goes. One of the things I wanted to mention. One, magnification helps a lot. And you can just use reading glasses if you don't have surgical loupes like these. These magnify about 2.5 times, so that makes it a lot better. And a couple of things I would try to point out is actually sort of like surgical procedures. So I'll be very careful with this as I show you. But sometimes that would happen is you'd be going around and just taking off little segments at a time, and I would notice that the membrane is in a bunch of different layers, and so one of the layers would be adhered to the underside of the shell. And so if you don't notice that and be careful with that, then you can keep going deeper and deeper, and then all of a sudden you'd have a puncture. So whenever it looks fragile, basically what you'd want to do, I think, and we do this in surgery too, like if you're dealing with an environment where there's a lot of scar tissue, you want to go to where you find normal tissue around it. So for example, if you're working on a nerve or a blood vessel on the hand and there's been a bunch of scar there, that's why we sometimes need a bigger incision, so you can open up tissue in front of it and behind that area where the wound was, so that you can see what looks like normal anatomy, and then you can approach it from a better angle. So kind of go from known to unknown. And I found that actually worked pretty good on the egg too. This is what I was trying to show earlier. I don't know if it will come through on the video here, but if you can see that the membrane of the egg is peeled off a little bit. See how it's really small little layer. It's almost like, I don't know, in surgery, this is sort of like a feeling of like when we're fixing a fracture of, say, a hand or a bone in the hand or on the face, we have to lift off the bone, this layer called periosteum. It's a little small covering over the bone, and because we want to get the fracture aligned just right without any of that caught in the middle of the two bones coming together. Plus, if you're going to put, like, for example, a little titanium metal plate to hold those bones together, you really want that to be directly on the bone. So anyway, so parts of the egg where that would just get really fine, and then want to peel up with the shell, and that can be a danger point for rupturing it. That's ask me how I know. Okay, quick little update here. Very close. It's kind of neat. If you look through the light, you can see the yolk in there, kind of moving around. It's pretty cool. All right, but these last couple areas are really seem stuck. Oh gosh. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the peel the raw eggshell challenge complete. This thing's it's pretty neat. Again, you can try to kind of see through it. You can see the yolk inside there. I don't want to drop this thing before we're ready, but there you can see it. Kind of neat. Okay, so now let's see here. Turn this around. Let's see, how can I do that? I mean, even if I've seen on other videos, if you bounce it, it's pretty stable. I don't know what distance it would take to break it, but kind of cool. Let me see if I can do it in slow-mo.